ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe here with another ArmA 2 mod. This one's called Chernarus Apocalypse. And this one actually came out sometime before DayZ, and I'm sure it's been a major source of inspiration. However, it differs greatly in that it's more so meant to be a cooperative experience. I guess you could say maybe a larger scale outdoor Left 4 Dead in a way. You do get to choose from 6 main characters with the addition of another 4, depending on how many players you have on hand. And each character actually has their own loadout. For example, here we have the Mercenary, who's kind of like a private military contractor, I guess. And he has a Glock 17 pistol, and he'll have the only flashlight in the group. You'll see it's actually mounted to his weapon. He's got 3 magazines, a watch, compass, and radio. Now, all the characters are going to share these basic items, but their pistol might differ. The Marine character actually has a shotgun, but no pistol. There is a reporter who has no weapons at all. He's unarmed, but he has the only map in the group, and you can see I've got no map here. He also carries a GPS with him. That GPS has geocache coordinates on it, and those coordinates will lead you to a crate of weapons and ammunition. So you can see where that would be invaluable. That geocache actually changes locations every time you play, so it's not going to be in the same place, which means that you will need that character with you if you always want to find that each time you play. There is also a doctor who starts with extra bandages, whereas I only have 1, as do the rest of the characters, so that can come in handy. There's also a few other characters that add a couple more weapons to the group, and the final 4 characters are actually just there to give the players some more choice, although most of them are unarmed. There's a Russian pilot, for example, that has night vision but no weapons, so you can see how it could be interesting to create different types of parties. But for the most part, I'm just showing you this solo as a demonstration. I definitely suggest you play this with friends. Really difficult to survive on your own, as you will probably see. Now, this is more so story-driven or objective-based. As you can see, we need to investigate Ulsha Hill. That was the source of a radio transmission, and we need to figure out what's going on. Now, when I spawned in, it had told me to head northwest, so we'll use the compass to do that and make our way forward. Hopefully don't die too quickly into this. Now, this is a zombie apocalypse, not an infected issue. The zombies will go down for the most part to a single headshot. That's usually your guaranteed kill. They are more resistant to body shots. It can be done, but it takes quite a few more rounds unless you're using something potent like a shotgun or something with higher power. Now, while we're out here in the darkness, I'll show you. Obviously, I can use this flashlight and the pistol at the same time. Again, I'm the only one with a flashlight to start with, so it can come in useful, although I don't want to give away my position to the other zombies. I think we've got... Oh, we got one incoming. Let's light him up. It's gonna be tough. He's coming. I'm just gonna have to try to get this headshot. There we go. Not easy. As you can see, I want to make sure nothing else comes in. I don't want to attract anymore with the sound of the gunfire. Yep, there's another. So you can see they still kind of zigzag and spaz out, but they do kind of stop in front of you to almost give you a chance to shoot them. I don't know if it's intentional or just part of the ArmA engine being a little glitchy. It's possible. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not taking the time to search these guys. It's because this actually doesn't work like DayZ. If the zombies have loot on them, there will be a sparkle particle effect, kind of like an MMO telling you that there's loot. So it's something that they've added for design and gameplay, whereas DayZ is more so about being a social experiment or hardcore realism simulator, I guess. So there are some elements like that in here. As far as the day-night cycle, please forgive me. It's dark on purpose. It's intentional via the mod. I have no control over it. This isn't a server-based game. It's more so me just running this locally via LAN, and I can't tamper with, you know, what time of day it is. So it will be kind of dark. and we'll adjust accordingly. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy it for what it is. You know, it's got to have that ambience. It's just not as scary during the day, right? So, but from what I've seen, you know, it's darker, obviously, if we go into the woods. But you've got these open areas here that you can kind of stick to for a while, and it'll maintain a decent level of lighting for you. So we've managed to survive getting hit by those guys. It's pretty much based on 3 strikes and you're out. You take a hit and you'll get a little cut icon on the lower left. You can choose to bandage that or wait till you have 2 more cuts. Upon the 3rd, I believe that's you're out and that's it. So it's easy to die. So you don't want to be careless with your movements. You can stealth through a large percentage of this, but it's not easy. And again, I just recommend that you're with a party of friends so that you can cover each other's backs, because it can get pretty intense, no doubt. Let's check that compass. We want to head back a little bit more so this direction, I think. I'm not 100% sure about the direction of all the objectives, so you really need to stick to that compass when you're playing the game, and just, you know, pay attention to any clues that the mod gives you, because like I said, it is a little bit more story driven than DayZ, but obviously it's a lot less sandboxy, and it doesn't have as much player support. Like I said, I think at total you could play this with maybe 10 people, and you're all going to start next to each other. If one of the characters dies, you can choose to spawn into the body of another character that hasn't already passed on, I believe. So, for example, let's say we've got 4 players. If one of them dies, he can choose another character, and then he'll spawn right with everybody else. So, there's a couple of walkers over there. I want to see if they're coming in. I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to keep low here. We'll go this direction and try to sidestep these guys. But it is definitely more forgiving than DayZ. It's really designed more so with... What is that? Oh, crap, a crawler. Designed more so with gameplay in mind instead of really trying to, you know, frustrate the player in some cases. Obviously, realism is good to an extent, but I do enjoy being able to kind of just focus on the fact that we're dealing with the apocalypse here and not necessarily have to worry about... I think I'm going to have to take this guy out. Not necessarily worry about getting killed by players around every corner. Let's see here. Where did he go? There he is. Can I bypass him? Because ammo in this game is worth its weight in gold. You really don't want to waste it if you don't have to. I think he's coming at me. And I'm not sure that I can lose them like I can in DayZ, so... I might have to drop him, but in a way I want to lure him away from those guys because I don't want to... give away my position with the sound of gunfire. I'm gonna have to drop this guy. Let's just wait till he comes through those bushes. Where'd he go? There he is. Kill that light. Alright, I think we're clean. Alright, let's try to get back on track here. As you can see, this game is still nerve-wracking, regardless of whether you're worried about other players or not, or the fact that you're not having to worry about food and water or hardcore realism. It's still pretty tough. The challenge is definitely there, and I can't stress enough that you really just need to find a group of friends to play this with, because You'll have a blast doing it. Trust me. And plus, you don't have to find a server. You can host locally. And as long as you have a decent connection, you know, like any other game, you can, for the most part, have some fun on your own. Which is kind of nice because if you think about it, games these days in general don't allow you to create your own servers. ArmA has always been a game that's allowed you to do your own thing, make your own missions, edit, mod, host, you know, without having to, you know, pay lots of money for a server provider. Now, of course, your connection does determine how many players are going to be able to connect to you. You know, I don't know how much fun you're going to have with a full 10 players if your bandwidth is terrible, but I've been fairly fortunate with that. So playing, I'd say you could probably get away with doing the 10, you know, at least the 6 players, and have a good time if somebody's got decent broadband. And what do we got here? Lake. Check that compass, northwesterly. But we got to be careful that we don't get too far off of our original bearings, because then the direction that we need to head may change. So we'll see how we come across here. It's so eerie with the purple hues in the sky. But it's funny if you think about Chernarus by itself. It is a creepy place in general. If you load up Chernarus in the ArmA 2 mission editor and you just load it up at night or whatever, it's creepy. Even though there's no zombies or infected or any horror elements on its own, it just has this very scary ambience. You know, there's a lot of audio, sound effects, and things like that that just make it creepy on its own. And it's almost funny to think it's like all these people playing games like Amnesia and whatever. It's like, screw that. Just use this to mod a game. I mean, you want horror, Chernarus is going to bring it to you. Let alone that the fact that this mod actually includes its own audio track that's creepy enough. It's so tough because, I mean, it's hard to find a game that has foliage and forest that's as thick as this. You know, you really can't see what's going on. And it's just, it's as real as it's going to get. It's kind of nice having this flashlight and knowing that I can turn it on without getting shot in the face by a player. But, you know, that's a completely different other challenge there, so. All the sound effects are brilliant. Some of them are, of course, from JSRS as well, I believe. Whoa, whoa. Rifleman. What the? Was that Swamp Thing? He's in a ghillie suit. Fracker. As you can see in this one, I guess part of the story is that a lot of the military units have been, a lot of the Chernarus Defense Force have been converted. They're now undead, and a lot of the time you're fighting against the soldiers and things like that. So I suppose if you're not getting those headshots, I haven't figured out if them wearing body armor affects how many rounds it might take to stop them if you're firing at their chest. Try to bypass these rocks and find a way out of here. It's a little bit more nerve-wracking being in the dense woods like this. So hopefully we can get out of here just to light the things up. Obviously the sky, we can see plenty of that. It's not pitch black dark. And I'm not sure how dark it does get. I don't know if they are using the normal ArmA day-night cycle, or if they've tampered with it to perhaps make it a little brighter. Just taking a look around there. Still kind of want to head similar to this direction. Not sure if I've gotten off track, though. I might have. So we want to be careful while we're keeping a watch here. Oh, hello. Crap, didn't see that guy. Yep, he saw me, though. So remember, no sparkle, no loot. We have to watch out for others, though, because they may have heard that. Now, it's difficult to see out here. Really dark. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Try to cut through here, because if it's going to get even darker, who knows? But for the most part, from what I have played of this with a couple of buddies, it hasn't gotten so dark within, you know, I would say, I think we played for about an hour and a half maybe once, to the point where it still gets really dark, obviously, but you could there was never a time where you couldn't see in front of you. You know, it's not like in DayZ where you'd run into situations where you couldn't see 2 feet in front of your face. I think we see a clearing out that direction. We might be a little off course, though. Creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. And it's funny, like I said, the mod doesn't even have to do that much work. Chernarus on its own is just creepy. I'm just trying to get to this clearing so maybe I can get some bearings. Let's see where we're at here. Whoa. Alright, there's one contact. But I think we've avoided him. I kind of like the zombie sound effects in this one. They just, because you can kind of hear them echo through the woods, which is creepy in itself. And there we have a car. Now, this is something that's really unique with this. Like I said, this is more story driven, so you'll run into things such as this, where it just adds to the whole kind of creepy ambience of the game. You can see that it's hit this tree and taken some people with it. You gotta definitely watch your back here. This is where having some extra players with you would definitely come in handy. So let's see, the trunk of this car's got some M203 flares. Well, we can't use them, but I'm just going to take them anyway. Those would require the grenade launcher, which I don't have. Alright, so I guess from here... You can always tell when I start being quiet that I'm just listening, trying to see where the enemy's coming from. Alright, so up. There we go. That's the radio tower, I believe. And we've got one walker. And there we go. Now, keep in mind, I will have a link to this mod in the description below if you are interested in playing it. You can find it at ArmAholic, and ArmAholic's a good website because it has just a whole bunch of mods for Arma 2. You can play different scenarios and things like this. This is part 1 of this mod. There's apparently a couple others that I have yet to try out, and I'm looking forward to doing so. Because I think this actually has a lot of potential. In some ways, I find this a little bit more interesting because you can just play it with a small group of friends anytime you want. And I like the story elements. I think it would be cool if DayZ added some sort of, like, I don't know, maybe like randomly generated tasks that you had to complete. Like, you know, go here, go to this coordinate, check out this facility. You know, there's a distress signal here. You know, so I'm sure that they would probably want to add things like that in the future. It's almost like if you could combine some of the aspects from this mod with DayZ, I think that you'd be on your way to perfection. Although the only downside to this thing is, like I said, it did come out sometime before DayZ. I think its last update was in 2011. I'm not sure, but I think that was the last date on the 1.4 patch. So I don't know if they've created anything else. There might be some scenarios that came out after that which are dated later. I would hope that the developer of this continues to work on it, and hopefully you guys see this and maybe it'll give it some more interest. Like I said, if you're enjoying DayZ, I think you can enjoy this separately. They're two, kind of in a way, they're two different things. One is more massively multiplayer sandbox, one is more small scale cooperative, story-driven, so it's kind of nice that they complement each other in a way. And you know what, like I always say, variety is good. It's always nice to have a couple of different things. But even on top of ArmA mods, there's a lot of other games I know that are out there that offer you zombie survival horror experiences, and I know there's a lot of companies trying to actually get some games out that are going to be more like MMOs, but with survival horror. I mean, even the Wii U game, I forget what it's called, Zombie U. I mean, let's face it, that's, you know, got DayZ written all over it. You only have one life, and it's extremely hardcore. Some interesting elements with that. But we'll see how it goes. I think that DayZ was kind of the stepping stone. But this even, you know, like I said, since this was out before, this could really be considered... perhaps the father of these types of games. I don't know. So what do we got here? This is the radio tower. It's eerie that when you see something just standing there, like lifeless and still. Obviously, you know what time it is. Time to take him out. Now, I will admit, there are some issues with this in the fact that the replayability probably isn't that great. Let's take this out first. Now, there's a few things that change with the game. Obviously, the geocache coordinates are always different. The locations of the zombies are random, except for this guy, for the most part, I think is always here. And that's about it. Otherwise, the story is always the same. And see, as you can see, hint, check the body in the tower for clues. So we're going to head up there in a second, but we've got a crate here that we want to check out. Boom, Saiga shotgun. Take that, thank you very much. Some more G17 mags, and I hear a walker. I think we're clear for now. But like this crate, I think is always here, and I think it's always usually the same type of items in it. Because when I played this before, this was in it as well. You know, it's all the same type of ammunition, but you want to choose, you know, who's going to get what. You need to be able to play nice with others and be smart about who's going to carry what type of equipment. Let's climb this ladder. And go over here. I think there's a walker really close, but this is kind of that sparkle effect I was telling you about with the particles. If something has loot on it, you'll see that like that. So it's kind of, it's, you know, it's a little touch, but honestly, I kind of like it. So what does he have on him? He's got a map, an extra radio, which we don't really need, and he's got an SA-61. But I'd rather have the Glock because it's got the light on it. So we completed that. Found a map on the policeman's body. He marked the airfield with a red X. Looks like the logical place to check out. Okay, so and now we can see that we have a map. We are here. And here's where it's been marked. So that would be, and then it says ammo here. So that would be our next destination. And that's where we started at. I believe whoever has the map will also get to see this stuff. So, but as you can see, that this is a really interesting cooperative kind of campaign experience. There's several parts to enjoy with your friends. You can do this with 10 players at most. And I think there's a lot of potential here. And I think that you could have a lot of fun with it. And I know I will. So, you know, who knows? I might do, I'm not sure if I'll do a few more videos for this. I might with my group of friends, and maybe we'll try to record our experiences and see what kind of chaos we can muster up. Hopefully they're making more episodes to this because I think there's a lot of potential with it. Even just being something completely separate from DayZ. I think, like I said before, you can enjoy these two games for their own merits. And this one just, it runs really smooth. There's a lot of polish, and there's a lot of interesting little game elements, like I said, even with this little loot feature here. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you've enjoyed this look at Chernarus Apocalypse. Link in the description below. I will see you on the next one.